Well, good morning all. We are a very small team today, but nevertheless, very welcome. And a few remarks before starting. This webinar session is being recorded and maybe published on our website. Depends a bit on this one or the afternoon session that we will publish. Right now, you can unmute yourselves. If you have any questions, you can just ask, no problem. You can also use the chat box or the question box in the menu. And at the end, of course, there is some time for Q&A anyway. And for your information, you all will get a copy of the slides I use in this session. So IT and OT convergence for a connected factory. That's the subject for today. And actually, well, some of you do know me indeed. I'm president of MOMi, the Manufacturing Operation Management Institute, and a senior business consultant. That's my prime task. Managing the organization is secondary to me personally, because indeed someone needs to make the decisions in the end, and that's what I do. But we have a great team and collaborate closely together in all our customer assignments with respect to business consultancy and education services. And that's our prime goal, our focus, of course, for manufacturing industries. I'd like to start with basically the conclusions of my previous webinar, which was called Educating for the Post-Corona Manufacturing World, because there are some interesting points and starting points related to the topic of today, actually. And of course, we are now in a Corona time frame, and everything seems to be different, and whether we get back to normal or a different normal, well, probably the last one, will be different. But as manufacturers, we keep on focusing, and that's what we have to do in order to be successful and have a sustainable business over time. We have to focus on efficiency and effectiveness, producing our valuable products at the lowest possible cost, of course, with the best potential possible quality. We need to be compliant to any regulations. And of course, we need increased agility, especially in these times that we have to switch our portfolio, maybe change our ways of working for several reasons, because the normal things from the past seem to be not that normal anymore, not always at least. And I also concluded that smart manufacturing is definitely an opportunity to enhance our workers' skills, and it offers tools to create further improvements. And of course, in the context of the previous webinar, I made the remark that we need people with advanced skills, different skills than we have today. But also, if you look at IT and OT, it's part of our resources, actually, our tools to do a great job. We will be manufacturers. That's our job. That's in our blood, you could say, our DNA. So that's what we have to do, and especially agility to improve continuously and make use of all our resources, including the tools which are not always in the models of ISO 95 or whatever we use, but that's to help us. And that's why IT, information technology, and operational technology are both mentioned. And often we see turf wars between the people from one against the other. And to bring them together to act as one, so to say, is often a challenge. It's not just a challenge because of new and exciting technologies. It's new and therefore maybe not familiar yet from the smart manufacturing industry 4, but also it is a new way of thinking. That's what is required. I will explain that in the next 20 minutes or so. And different worlds that have been working separately in different silos, you could say, with completely different systems and technologies and suppliers to them. They must integrate in the context of the industrial Internet of Things, or the internet, the industrial internet, if you want to call it that way. That's what we need to do, because we want to connect everything more or less. And if we look at the two things, the OT and the IT, what is the difference there basically? Well, traditionally, I would say operational technology in manufacturing includes, of course, hardware and software systems that control and execute our processes on the shop floor. It had different kind of systems. The industrial automation control systems, typically SCADA, PLCs, DCSs, CNCs, MES, if you want to include that, they can be extremely sophisticated and advanced, but they are not always that much networked. And as the smart manufacturing and Industry 4, that needs to change, because we want to connect all our resources, our equipment, our tools, our material even, to our systems, and of course don't forget to include people in that picture. With MES, by the way, the manufacturing execution system, already the fight started. Initially, in my own history, we talked primarily to people from engineering, so the people responsible for OT. And as an extension to what they needed, a new tool to expand their options and the thrive for more success and efficiency and effectiveness, etc. But quite soon, IT found out MES, oh, that's computers, that's normal networks, at least to a certain extent, that's IT. And the same was true for the soft PLCs, so also PLC systems developed over time into more an IT thing. And that's where the battle, and when the battle started, I would say, between IT and OT. I'll come back to this battle later on as well. If you look at IT, information technology, of course, that's the infrastructure for information. And it comprises everything that is necessary for processing and storing that information. Of course, we have networks, servers, laptops, internet, all these things. Communication is part of it. And it is increasingly a part of our manufacturing equipment as well, because that's what you see in our equipment, in our machines. You see more and more IT, computers. So it's growing towards each other, I would say, and overlapping if you look at the technology side of it. So IT versus OT, that's absolutely, IT is communication. So networking, connecting systems is absolutely a part of the story from day one, you could say, or day two maybe. And OT, operational technology, is not traditionally networked at all. Many different devices for monitoring adjustments were not computerized. And if it was something like that, was, well, with old and ancient protocols and the programmable logical controllers, that is something that is different. And security, that's the last remark here, in IT, that's something that's more common from the early days, at least for a long period of time. In OT, we have more the air gapping systematic, so just do not connect them, then you can't be infected from the outside world. And that's not a feasible option anymore into the future. If you look at IT and OT and the components of that on this picture, this typically familiar, I would say, the operational technology, the SCADA software, the PLCs, the DCSs, embedded computing technology, etc. And of course, the HMI, the communication to the users, the operators primarily, and yes, with some advanced PLC kind of things, the RTUs, the remote terminal units, and that kind of things. And on the other hand, the IT world, which is completely different, comes from a different origin as well, into the cloud infrastructures we have today, the advanced high-level programming languages like Java and Python, SQL for questioning and asking data from a data repository. It is two different worlds and not really connected that much. And that's a big challenge in the light of smart manufacturing and Industry 4. IT is also, but also from an organizational point of view. IT is often led by the CIO, top-level IT officer, information officer, corporate level. OT is organized local, plant engineering typically. And the combination or the convergence of the two, that's absolutely an essential point or a prerequisite for smart manufacturing and Industry 4. And bring that together, it's also about the organization. I mentioned that one is more corporate, the other is more locally organized, and who's in charge of it. It's completely different ways how it's been organized and set up over time. So they have to collide these two different worlds in the context of industrial Internet of Things and the industrial Internet, in order to be that enabling tool for many new opportunities to improve our business and even to change our business more service oriented. That's another trend in the industry right now. So if you look at these kind of things, and that's a statement by Gartner on this slide, that the Internet of Things, or the industrial Internet of Things, the digital business transformation, that we need to capture those new opportunities. But as also, we need to mitigate or reduce at least the associated risks. And that is related to cybersecurity, for example, but also to other elements of the risk we have introducing and leveraging those new technologies. So at least it will involve high levels of cooperation between IT and the groups managing the OT, the operational technology. We need to monitor and control our physical devices and our processes in our enterprise. In the end, it is about visibility and transparency of everything that happens in our manufacturing operations on our shop floor. No matter what kind of technology or level of advanced things we have, it is always the starting point. If you want to improve, you have to make things visible. And right now, with these new challenging, I would say on one hand, but also great opportunities at the other hand, that's a prerequisite. We need to have the transparency and visibility, not only to us people, to us operators, or whatever role we have in manufacturing, but to all that connect things in that network, that industrial Internet of Things, systems, tools, materials, equipment, and people. That's where it's about, and that's why we need to bring those two worlds of IT and OT together. So it's about systems and standards. And yes, it's a new way of thinking. That's why IT leaders need to prepare for the transition to a different way of organizing all their activities and their people, etc. To integrate and align and converge, if you want to say it that way, IT and OT. This is the cornerstone of the IIoT and the cyber-physical systems with the maximum benefit. But it's not all. There is more to it. In addition to what Gartner stated already in 2011, but also especially in 2017, the previous slide, we need to do more. In the end, we are manufacturers. So the baseline is that we transform raw materials into valuable finished goods. And we try to do that in the best possible way. And yes, the scope from just our factory has been enlarged to the end-to-end supply chain in this new world of smart and Industry 4. Absolutely true. So, but if it's not in line with and doesn't support us to be successful against our strategic goals as a company, then it doesn't work. Then it will not pay off. And that's why I'd like to introduce briefly and refer to the manufacturing maturity model, which is published in my Mesa White Paper 38, the basic principles of manufacturing maturity, basic principles of increasing performance as a manufacturer, because that's what we are. Yes, we have our ways of working, our processes. We have our people and what they know and are capable of doing, their skill sets. We have an organization and a governance, that's structure. And technology, IT, OT, and whatever you smart, everything. These four need to be aligned, need all to be contributing to a successful achievement of our strategic goals. And how successful we are, well, that's what is indicated by our maturity level, you could say, level of performance. The base level is ad hoc, just do as you think is okay. Planned and controls, that's the second level. And that's basically that you have your planning, your dispatching, your execution processes standardized. The level 3, that's the standardization of all your processes in scope. And level 4, it's predictable performance. So if you make a decision, if you decide to do something in a certain way, then you know what the consequence will be. And operational excellence or manufacturing excellence, the top level, maturity level 5, is continuous improvement is being built in. You are continuously improving your standardized processes with a predictable outcome to even higher levels of performance. That's the maturity model, manufacturing maturity model. And if you would look at it at your current situation, for example, we see here again that the baseline, the processes, the structure, the people, and the IT, the 4 domains I mentioned, and the y-axis you see the 5 levels of maturity. Suppose your current situation is something like this. So people's skill sets are a little bit lower than the rest. That's basically the weakest link here. And if you would invest in even a converged IT/OT in technology only, you create only a bigger misalignment gap. So if you don't address the organization, the structure in this case, the organization and governance, if you don't address your people's skill sets, if you don't address your processes, your ways of working, your investment in the effort of that converging of IT and OT will not pay off. So it's way more than just the technology. It's even more than just the organization. It's part of the entire setting of a manufacturing organization. Basically, you need to align also IT/OT with your business. Both ways, actually. So IT/OT and business alignment. And this picture shows a little bit, it's similar to IT and business alignment, but it's including OT in this case. You have your IT technology environment, you have your operational environment, and you need to have this sorted, that you align them at corporate and local level. And that you have local support for IT and OT, that you have local change management for your people's skill set, you're educating your people, the subject of my previous webinar, your processes and your organization and governance. Basically what you need is a kind of center of excellence team, taking care that all your the elements of your business are well sorted and well supported. Meaning that, of course, the business at corporate level is responsible for revenue improvements, cost improvements, cash generation, etc. And the plant needs to exceed even those targets for quality, production, cost, and waste. And that team, that manufacturing system COE group, or you could say IT/OT convergence team, whatever title you provide to it, it is all in the same picture. It should be supporting the business to be successful, to achieve their goals. So IT/OT convergence, that's the same goal it has. Support the business to do a better job, to be successful against your strategic goals. And of course, the technology kind of things need to be sorted as well. And it needs to be collaborating. So it's IT and OT, those 2 separate silos from the past need to converge, but also they need to collaborate closely with the business, with operations. And that's the key element, I would say, to get towards that advanced level of performance and an advanced level of maturity. That's why IT and OT convergence is also important. So this team needs to know about what is unique for every line or department in the plant, etc. There are quite a few things you need to do. And also those concepts and technology need to be leveraged across the business, I would say, everywhere, every department, every plant, if you are in a multi-plant situation. Building that team, that's essential. Basically, you have 2 options. Either you have something like a team already, maybe not with the exact objective and goal and mission as you need, but that's at least a starting point. Often, if there is something like that, try to start it and tune it to the goals and the ways of working you need. It's better to start with an existing team if there is one, rather than start over from beginning. Maybe there are some cons as well as pros, but you have to work with the cards you have been dealt, I would say. On the other hand, if you have an opportunity to build a team from scratch from the beginning, it's a great opportunity to create something special. Making the most of that opportunity, however, it requires definitely planning and some preparation. To do so, there is a 6 steps plan. It's a very simple thing, actually. Everyone can think of this as the right way to do it. In our special training, we have an online training, IT Convergence for Connected Factory, is the same title as this webinar. And there we explain more in detail what is in there, how to achieve the goal, to create and shape that team the right way. But especially it has to start with a proper goal setting in line with the goals, the strategic goals of your company, because that's in the end what is important. That's what counts, the bottom line result. And of course, you need to define your roles and responsibilities and identify rules and conduct and expectations. Of course, you need to start naming names at some point in time, because it is still people who form the team together. And of course, you have to agree on the team plan, the steps, and start. We explain more about this in detail in that 2 times 4 hours session. The first dates that are scheduled is in July 1 and 2. But basically, concluding, if you look at IT and OT, this information technology and operational technology, need to be converged, to collaborate really, act as one for a connected factory. In the context of smart manufacturing, Industry 4, and the industrial Internet of Things, we need to create this, act as one organization and function, you could say, of IT and OT, because we need to focus at efficiency, effectiveness, compliance, and definitely we need to increase our agility in order to survive and thrive in manufacturing. And smart manufacturing is a great initiative with many opportunities for further improvements, also to enhance our worker skills, to support people instead of eliminate people from our process. That's not true. That's what I explained in my previous webinar. It is, but this converged IT/OT, act as one world. It's not only about systems and technology, it's also about organization, and a dedicated team is definitely a successful best practice. Last but not least, I like to point you to our education programs. I said before, July 1 and 2, so it's in just over 2 weeks. We have this topic again on the agenda in a 2-session program, IT/OT Convergence for a Connected Factory, where we explain way more details than I was able to do in this 20-25 minutes this morning. Related topics is the week later is Smart Manufacturing Industry 4 Strategies, and Cybersecurity, July 21st, and the Manufacturing Maturity in August. All related to the things I brought together and related to IT and OT convergence, why we need to do it and how to do it. That ends my webinar presentation for this morning. Please feel free to ask any questions. We still have a couple of minutes for that, and I will be happy to try to answer them. Thank you. Any questions? If not right now, feel free to send me an email later on, and if you have any questions or things I can help you with. Then I want to end this session for now. Thank you very much and have a great day. Goodbye.